Greetings, everyone's IT2. So, the other day, I started making a list of movies that I kept changing what the list is. Originally, I thought it was going to be movies that were the most original ideas or concepts that you'd never seen before it came out. But then I started thinking of other movies that were like not really that original, but they were like most influential, or like if I had a kid, I would have to show them these movies, or they're just like the best movies that I could think of, kind of. But I kind of like my favorite movies on here. I don't even know what you would call this. Like I started out thinking about Highlander. Like Highlander, you've never had a movie about like a bunch of immortals that would sword fight each other and cut their heads off, and whoever killed the other one absorbed their powers. It's like such an original concept, right? And then Ghostbusters. Like Ghostbusters came out, there'd never been a movie like it before. It's not really based on a comic book, but it's there was comic books that came after it, and all kind of merch. Such an original idea, like people that like, go around like as a utility company capturing ghosts, and like it's just like so original. And then I started thinking of my favorite movies. It's if they're that original. Like The Matrix was one. The Matrix was pretty original. There's been like people thinking about like, are we living in a simulation before? But nobody really made a movie with the bullet time too, and the Wachowskis. I don't know about the Wachowskis. Like they were twins that they turned like transgender, and then like they made the new Matrix movie, which wasn't that great. But then you also have like that Ghostbusters 2, or the new Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters 2 was actually good, though. The female one was shit. And then the new Afterlife was good. And then my other favorite movie is The Crow. Now, The Crow is a comic book movie, but it doesn't look like a comic book movie because it's not like a DC Marvel. It's like one of those Dark Horse, I think it was. James O'Barr made this weird comic, and the movie looks better than the comic, actually, but such a guy dies and a crow brings him back, and he can't die until he gets revenge on the people that killed him. It's such a good concept. All gothic and stuff too, and you got this crazy good soundtrack with it. Yeah, Matrix wouldn't have a good soundtrack, did it? And then Twister's my other favorite movie, and that's pretty original. There's not that many tornado chasing movies. There was like a Night of the Twisters and a bunch of like real shitty ones, but the original Twister is one of my top 3 movies. So those are pretty original. So then I wrote down Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the original one. Don't know how the concept's pretty original, but it's like it's based on a video game, right? Or did the video come after? I don't remember. Most of the best movies came out in the 80s. So I'm going to diverge from my list for a second. I want to show you these. I found these guys. Nice Dude Movie Night. I'm going to give them a little free plug, even though they probably get way more views than I do. Oh yeah, 44,000 subs. I really like it when I watch these people reacting to movies that they've never seen for the first time, because I'm old enough now that I've seen like everything pretty much that. Like, when stuff was just becoming color instead of black and white, like, I pretty much was there for all of the good stuff. So now there's generations of people that have never seen some of the best movies. So you can use this list as a kind of guide to, like, if you've never seen old movies, you don't know what to watch. Like, what have I missed out on? There's so many, like, memes or references that you don't get if you haven't, like, especially if you're watching something like, what's that? The book that Ernest Cline wrote, Ready Player One, because he makes a ton of 80s references. If you ever seen all these 80s movies, you wouldn't even know. So I'm going to go through these guys. I just watched their Ghostbuster one. They also got a Ghostbusters 2 and Afterlife and whatever. But the one on the Starship Troopers, I added that to my list. I got an extra list on my phone. Starship Troopers, based on the Robert Heinlein sci-fi book. It's so damn good. I'm watching these guys watch it for the first time, and it's like every minute they're like, what the fuck? They can't believe like all the stuff that's going on. And it's just that good. There's an all-star cast of people in it. crazy propagandist. I didn't even know, like, Paul Verhoeven, the guy that directed it, he did RoboCop. He did a few other movies you may have heard of, but, like, before that, he was a German guy that made German movies. And when they had the one dude that was Neil Patrick Harris, he came out, it looked like a Nazi uniform he was wearing. Like, I don't know. That was kind of weird, that German dude. But, like, I might play a little Starship Troopers the game here after I do this video. I'm going to stream a little bit, I think. Even though it's already pretty late. But Starship Troopers is so badass. Every minute of that movie, it's something crazy going on. And the blocking and the shots are so epic. But let me go through the rest of my list really quick. I got The Wizard. The Wizard's that movie about Mario 3. About this kid who's like a genius at video games. Even though he never played video games before, he just knows what to do. And he skips levels and goes to this tournament and wins it in California. I should put like Adventures in Babysitting on this list now that I'm thinking about it. That's kind of like, I don't know. There was like the He-Man movie. That's not that good. I don't know what I'm thinking. Matrix, Crow, Twister, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters, The Wizard, Highlander, Harry and the Hendersons. Let's go back full screen. Harry and the Hendersons is about... It's a comedy about Bigfoot. And it's so good. They don't make movies like that anymore. Harry and the Hendersons. Like, if most people nowadays that are just like in their 20s probably have never heard of Harry and the Hendersons. So definitely go see that. Like, if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? The Princess Bride I wrote down. That's also a book. I don't know if they wrote the book after the movie. But that's another one these guys watched. The Nice Dude guys. I watched their reaction to that. That movie's crazy good. A lot of people probably don't know about it. And then this is a movie that's like kind of the, let's call it the black sheep of the list. Friday. With Ice Cube and what's the other guy's name? The black guy? Anyway, Friday was like when I was renting out VHS tapes when I worked at a convenience store. This movie was checked out every day, constantly. People would come in and ask for it if it wasn't there. People that would rent it multiple times, over and over again. It's crazy that like now you just download it and watch it at your house wherever you want. It's that good though too. I can't think of any other like black movies that are just so rewatchable. Next Friday the sequels were not that great, but Friday, the original Friday, by Felicia, people still say that all the time. And then I put Karate Kid on here. I guess it's that good. I don't really feel like it's up to like Ghostbusters quality, but you know, Karate Kid 2 and 3 were also pretty good, but the first one, there's just something about it. You got Pat Morita, Ralph Macchio. I remember I used to read like Spider-Man comics or something, and like there was a guy, the editor of Marvel Comics was Ralph Macchio. I don't know if it was the same guy or not. That's a weird name to have two people named that become famous. I put Harry Potter on here. That's a pretty obvious one. It's pretty recent, so everybody's probably seen that, but I feel it just needs to be on here, like all the Harry Potters. Even though J.K. Rowling's getting some serious shit right now. I don't even know what she said that was so bad. I think she's like a racist or something. And then that game's coming out like 5 days from now. And I just totally want to play it, even I don't care how racist she is. And I got Back to the Future on here. I think everybody would agree Back to the Future is a must-watch. For obvious reasons. There's been plenty of time travel movies, so that's not really that original. But it's just classic. Back to the Future 2 actually might even be better than the first one. But yeah. I don't know. 1 and 2, pretty good. Terminator. I don't know if I meant the first one or the second one. And then I put also / RoboCop. Terminator RoboCop. There's been robot movies, but just something about those two. I feel like that's what this list is. It's just like there's something about these movies. It's something special. Shawshank Redemption. That's based on a Stephen King thing. crazy good movies. Classically, I mean, they won all kinds of awards, didn't it? Shawshank, probably. And then I remembered two movies from my childhood that used to come on every year. Most watches, but I'm sure like people from the last 20, 30 years, if you're 30 years old, you've probably never seen the original Alice in Wonderland from the 50s. Wizard of Oz you may have seen, but Alice in Wonderland and Wizard of Oz. And then, wait a minute. Then I put Willy Wonka on here, because that's kind of the three that all kind of go together, I feel like. Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz, and Willy Wonka. Because they all like surreal, based on children's stories or books or whatever. But they're just like so classic and epic. It's just like hard to explain. Then I put Raiders of the Lost Ark on here because actually, The Last Crusade I think might be better than the first one. Maybe. The first one is a classic. The second one I never liked as much, but now if you look back at it, it's really good too. That's the one where they're eating the monkey's brains and stuff. But like Raiders of the Lost Ark, there were a couple movies, like I would call this like a archaeological adventure, I don't know what you would call it, but like Romancing the Stone was one, Solomon's Temple was one. If you know any more, let me know, because I don't even know, like this is kind of like a Clive Cussler novel. It's kind of like, I don't know how you would explain what kind of genre that is. It's like a treasure hunt adventure almost. Yeah. Then I wrote down Monty Python in general, just like the Holy Grail, Life of Brian. Both of those two definitely. The other ones maybe not so much, but like there's so many references from the Holy Grail. If you've never seen it, you have to watch it. And then I put down Battle Royale. This is the foreign movie that's on the list. The original Koshin Takami Battle Royale with the high school kids. This is like the basis for all Battle Royale games. It's about a class of kids that have to shoot each other and kill each other on an island until one survives. It's dope. It's like you need to see this. And then I put down 300. Even though there are other movies, it's not that original. It's based on the Battle of Thermopylae. But there's Troy with what's his name? Angelina Jolie and the real famous guy that I can't think, I'm just blanking on right now. I want to say Brian or Bruce, but I know that's not right. What the fuck is his name? Brad Pitt. Right. Brad Pitt. Yeah, that was really good, but it's not the same. Something about the way 300 is filmed. The Spartacus TV show was kind of filmed in the same way, and it's also, I would consider it on the same level. But there was a Gladiator with Russell Crowe, not as good. There was all those like Clash of the Titans, those classic ones. I mean, they had that one guy that he was like a puppeteer. He was like classic. He made those like skeletons and stuff and things like claymation. That's a classic movie, but it's just like it's not the same. I wouldn't feel like I would have to show my kid that, even though it's so classic. So that's like 22 things that I put on this first list. So I'm moving the camera around, and then I started adding things. 3 O'Clock High, the high school fight movie. Something about that movie trips me out. Even though most people would say you like all these other like 80s high school movies like Breakfast Club type shit, I don't really see. To me, they're not that great. But 3 O'Clock High, something about that movie. We're gonna fight. 3 o'clock. Ferris Bueller, that one. All these are like classic 80s. I mean, most people probably seen Ferris Bueller. 3 O'Clock High, I'm sure like nobody has seen. Short Circuit, the one with that's another robot one. But it's like an E.T. type robot. He's like a real like AI come to life by accident kind of thing. A little bit unbelievable. Short Circuit movies were pretty good. I put Christmas Vacation, but I guess the first Vacation was alright. European Vacation was kind of meh. Kind of dirty. Some of the vacation movies were, but like Christmas Vacation, there's like, my brother used to quote that movie constantly. So many like references there. And then I put Raising Arizona. I wasn't that big a fan of Raising Arizona, but now that I'm thinking about it, this is like Nicolas Cage getting his start. And Nicolas Cage made so many classic movies afterwards, like Face Off and City of Angels and all that kind of stuff. Phenomenon was John Travolta, but both of those guys at this time, they were just like popping off. Con Air. Yeah. Powder? Remember the Powder movie? That wasn't either one of those guys, but it came out at the same time. But Raising Arizona, I don't even remember that much except that fucking biker shooting that rabbit. It's like he kept kidnapping that kid or something. I don't know. I don't know if that should be on the list. Then there was a movie, because I was thinking about Ghostbusters, and what's his name that played Ray? And Bill Murray, was he in this? Dragnet? Remember Dragnet? Where they played cops? Then they had to like infiltrate a gang of occultists, like Satanists, and they had to put on these like goat leggings, and they had a giant snake that they killed with pills, and they drugged it. Dragnet was really good. Police Squad. I didn't think of that one, but that one should be on here. And then Police Academy, I noticed was on this other guy. I put Neverending Story on the list. Neverending Story 2? Was that better than the first one? I don't remember either one of them. And then there was like Dark Crystal, and then there was Krull. I think Krull might be better than all of them. And then there's the Ewoks movie. Star Wars. Yeah, like I would show my kid Krull for sure if I had a kid. But I would show him Neverending Story. Just because that's like a great movie for kids anyway. Man, there was a bunch of those kind of like puppet movies that came out. Predator? I don't know if I would show my kid Predator. But that one's... Commando and Predator and Platoon. These are all like classic military style movies. But Predator has the Predator in it, and he's like in a lot of other shit later on. So if you haven't seen Predator, you should definitely see the first one. With Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then from Arnold Schwarzenegger, I thought of Total Recall. That's another one that Paul Verhoeven did, I think. Yes, Total Recall, where he has to go to Mars, and he disguises himself as a woman with 3 tits. And he has this cool watch that makes like a mirror image of him. It's like dope. It's so good. And then True Lies, another Schwarzenegger one, with Roseanne's ex-husband. I can't think of his name. True Lies was just like cinematically, they hadn't really made anything like that before. It's so good when they had that Harrier jet and like they were getting all these crazy camera angles on it. And then I put What About Bob? That is another Bill Murray movie. Me and my brother watched that probably 10, 12 times. He's like, he follows his psychiatrist on vacation and annoys the shit out of him. It's classic, kind of in the same way Harry and the Hendersons is. But that's all I got on my list. That's a lot of movies. It's a good thing I don't have a kid, because he'd just be watching movies all the time. Let's go back over here. My dog's barking at me. Young Frankenstein, Shaolin Soccer, and Kung Fu Hustle. Both of those are really good. There's Kung Fu Hustle. Oh, Office Space. Yep, that's a classic one. You should watch that. Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead. Yeah. Tremors. Yeah. Classic. I already mentioned Life of Brian. It's a Wonderful Life. I didn't watch that until like a couple years ago. I had never seen it. And I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything when I watched it. Galaxy Quest. Kind of classic. It's got a lot of actors and stuff in it that you probably wouldn't expect. There's True Lies. I should watch that later. Also, in these like reaction videos, they're only like half an hour long. It's kind of like how you can watch a football game in 15-20 minutes if you watch the NFL highlights. watch some guys reacting to a movie, you can see like the main parts, and it's like you just zip through it. Saves you a lot of time. Princess Bride, Starship Troopers. Monty Python and the Holy Grail's on here. Big Trouble in Little China, classic movie. There's also a foreign film called The Storm Riders. I don't know if you can find that anywhere, but that was dope. I don't even know how to explain it. It's like an Asian fantasy. People have like different crazy magical abilities, like they can control water, like Avatar and shit, kind of stuff, or fire, or whatever kind of elements. Dude, the main thing I even forgot to mention about watching black people react to movies like Blazing Saddles that they've never seen it before, and they say the N-word like 1,000 times. It's the funniest thing in the world. That's the main reason I got into this. The original Batman's on here. 50 Shades of Grey. I don't care about that. Total Recall. Twilight. Why the fuck are they watching Twilight? The Thing. That's one that I've never seen, but I heard is amazing because Angry Video Game Nerd talks about it all the time. So I'm going to look that up later and maybe watch it. Insidious is good. It's modern though. Kangaroo Jack. What the fuck? That's not good. It's surprising how many good movies are on here. A lot of people would probably say Space Jam's classic, but I never really liked those kind of movies. Oh, fucking Desperado. All of the Tarantino shit's good, but especially Desperado and Pulp Fiction. You should definitely watch those. Desperado, I don't know if he's the one. I think it was somebody else that directed it, but he was in it. Who was that guy? It's on the tip of my tongue. Army of the Dead. Oh, that's not the. I'm thinking of. What's the sequel to Evil Dead? Army of Darkness. It's pretty cool. It's not as good as Army or Evil Dead though. Singing in the Rain. Happy Gilmore should be on the list. And Billy Madison. All those like early Sandlers. I feel like a lot of people have seen those, but if you haven't, definitely watch Happy Gilmore. Yeah, and then these ones. These are like shows. They changed their thumbnails up, so it's kind of hard to tell what they're watching in this one. Oh, what's that? Kingpin? Remember Kingpin? Oh, what's that one I used to do? What's the one with my nipples look like milk duds? Kung Pao. Kung Pao should be on the list. Oh, there's so many impressions from that I used to do. I can't even remember them all. Christmas Story. That's classic. I just watched the sequel to it, Christmas Story Christmas or something like that. I watched that around Christmas last year. Is that the old Dune? 1984 Dune? I didn't even know there was one. Original Batman's good. Yeah, so that's kind of at the start of their channel. So I think we covered a lot. I think it'll keep you guys busy for a while. If you're looking for some movies to watch, definitely consider those ones. Now I'm gonna go stream some Starship Troopers, I think.